I need to warm up. Can I
Yeah.
ask you a question?
Ask me some questions.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay. Name your... If you could have any superpowers, what would it be?
What's the word? Teleporting. I'd be able to teleport.
Why?
Because I want to be able to go on a holiday. I want to be able to see who I want to see without having to pay for flights and just quickly.
That's same. Like, I literally always ask people this question because I just think, like, just imagine how much you'd save.
You'd save so much. You'd be able to go anywhere in the world.
Anywhere.
Literally anywhere.
Anywhere. Like, you could be in, like, some forest somewhere, and then you could go to, like, a beach somewhere.
Exactly.
Like, oh, the imagination,
Maybe
the
to
range.
the moon as well.
I had a dream the other day that I was flying.
Really?
How cool is that?
I've had one of those before. That's it.
It was amazing. So,
That's cool.
like, I searched it up because that's the thing. You do hear in life about, like, flying dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And I searched it up, and it basically said this is one of the more common lucid dreams, the dreams that you can control.
Mm-hmm.
And I was flying, but I was flying next to skyscrapers, right?
What?
And, like, I was, like, quite low. Like, let's say the skyscrapers are, like, this tall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was, like, here, and I was just hovering and floating, then I was going in between different buildings, then I was going high in the sky, then going really, really down. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. And, like, I woke up, and I went to go, search it, like, what it meant and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, skyscraper mean high ideals, accomplishments, your things getting recognised. I was like, yes, my G.
That's
like, I love that. That's the dream that I kind of want to have.
Exactly.
So, like, yeah, I've been on cloud 9 since that.
God, I'm jealous. I can't really remember my dreams. Mine are so random. Like, I think I got in an Uber with my friend, one dream. And then this Uber driver was, like, driving us, like, through people's gardens to get us somewhere. That was like 2 nights ago.
I need to get you home.
Yeah, like
Time
that.
to take a shortcut.
I actually don't know what that means, but
I'm intrigued. We have to, like, search it up.
Yeah, we need to. Significance of an Uber driver driving fast.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like, yeah.
No, I'm intrigued. We should probably get into the episode, shall we? Let's get into it. So, welcome everyone. This is another episode of DM Talks, a podcast that hopes to assist well-being and promote healing, whether that be physically, mentally, or spiritually. Ultimately, we just want to be seen in our entirety, and this podcast hopes to show listeners how multifaceted they are. We all want to be seen at the centre of our universe, so why don't we do more to better our own existence?
I like that. That's so nice.
Yeah, it's just a soft little message, isn't it? It's like, hey guys. Hello everyone, I am really, really happy today.
Good.
I'm excited. We've got an episode for y'all. We've got an episode. This episode is linked to my anti-racism work series. And today I've invited a guest who encaptures bold, who encaptures creativity, who captures... all the things. Like, honestly, I don't know what. Everything that I see you do it so well. So, like, you are multifaceted by default, you know? But yeah, no, welcome to my home. Welcome to DM Talks.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Hello.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy.
Amazing. So, this is Feya for everyone. And why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners and say what you do and, just tell me about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Feya Mattis. So I'm currently studying fashion marketing at university, and I run a platform called Back in Fashion.
Bop bop.
Which helps to, which we focus on uplifting and supporting young black people in the North, young black creatives who are interested in the fashion industry or just being creative in general. That's what we do.
Amazing.
But, yeah.
I remember going to one of your events. Where was it? In Northern Quarter?
Yeah, you've been supporting for... That was a launch event.
That was lit. That was lit. I remember it was so funny because I was like, it was when I was doing my dissertation, and you know those long library days every student has to face. And I could see my phone or like my iMessage popping off being like, oh yeah, black in fashion. I was like, okay, let me just put this laptop down. I'm going to go. I had such a sick night. Everyone was dancing. It was sick.
It was amazing. No, that launch event was just like, it was lovely, like a party.
Yeah.
It's like a celebration. So, yeah.
Oh, amazing. No, I'm really, really happy for you. Like, I think, when did we meet? Like maybe in first year or second. No, we must have.
Where did we meet?
You know what? To be fair, like I think I'd seen you about and stuff, but we'd properly met when I came to the Fashion Society because you ran the Fashion Society at uni.
Yeah.
And you had this massive networking event, and I remember that's when I got close with Nicole. Shout out Nicole.
Yes,
and
Nicole.
and then that's when I got to know you as well. Well, more anyway.
Yeah, that's true actually.
But it's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like it's nice as well because like we're both black women, right? We obviously have like similar experiences, but we come from very different environments. So like being able to talk to you on a level like, you know, it's just that whole like you get it. Do you know what I mean? Like you fucking get it.
Absolutely.
So like I just thought you were the best fit for this episode. Yeah. So what have you done today?
I've literally done some university work.
Amazing.
And that's it, really. Been on Twitter today.
No, fair. Well, how was that?
It was a lot. Twitter today was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot.
You know, I honestly like I've deleted my Twitter. Like I've got so basically I had a Twitter that I've had since I was a child. Well, not child, but since I was younger. But it had to go. I had to go. Like if I want to excel in media, and it's not a reflection of me in the present day, it just had to go.
Has to go.
Yeah, so I've got a new Twitter now, but I hardly use it. I don't know, Twitter is a space where it's like a massive echo chamber, isn't it? And like the voices there's no censorship as well, so the voices are just so much more louder and aggressive. Like,
it's a lot.
not even the voices, the fucking text, like it's just like...
Yeah, because everyone's, you know, just typing their consciousness, their stream of consciousness. So it's all just like conflicting each other.
Yeah.
So you have like so many different opinions and stuff. But I just went on it today mostly just to like find some memes with some of my friends.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But then of course like
best place for that.
Honestly. But then like this Megan situation as well.
Ooh.
And everything that's happening with that. It's
Oh
just
god.
been like been heavy.
No, we're definitely gonna have to like get into it for the decoding the messes. But
yes, sir.
For the first segment, we're going to introduce you to the Divine.
Yay!
And the Divine is where we nominate a good thing, shine a light on a good thing that we've seen, whether it's online or offline. And what would you like to nominate for the Divine?
A good thing that I've seen online, on Twitter again, was a woman recommending to stop combing your hair and actually use a brush instead. And I normally just comb my hair. My hair's 4C, so it's a lot. To comb through because it's quite thick. But so I brushed my hair for the first time like in the shower with conditioner and it was nice.
Amazing. Nice. I'm doing a hair treatment tonight and I'll actually use that tip.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's really good. Do it.
Yeah, I've got like a massive paddle brush.
Yeah, literally one of those.
Oh, amazing. I think I've actually nominated this person before, but I don't care, I'm going to nominate her again. It's my podcast. I'm nominating Kelechi Okafor. Kelechi Okafor is a social commentator, a pole dancer, twerk innovator, podcaster, like... baby girl. She's just a baby girl, innit? And like, she's recently gone viral again for an IGTV video that she just did called Violence Isn't the Answer. No, I think it's called, Violence Isn't the Answer. Or Violence is the Answer, or something like that. And basically, over the course of the past week or so, there's been a video circling around of this racist ranting on the tube, and he's saying like things like, "Oh, this whole racism stuff, all these black people stuff, it's really popular now at the moment," and he was spacing like very harmful rhetoric, like out loud, like on a tube in front of 3 black boys, and as the 3 black boys were getting off the train, one of them just slapped them, punches them, sparked in the face. And basically, she made this video and she spoke about how when people say violence isn't the answer, that completely contradicts their complete history. Because it's like, okay, if violence is the answer, how come violence is the answer and then you get 10 marks with every... Sorry, I'm getting my words so mixed up. I don't know, I need to shaken up. No, I need to loosen up. I feel like I'm...
You can get it.
Not not stress is the word. What's the word? Like you know when you just like wanna like tight. Yeah, we need to do a game.
Yeah, let's do a game.
Let's do a game. I Spy with My Little Eye, something beginning with B.
Burner Boy.
Yeah, it was that. Okay, now you go.
Okay, I Spy with My Little Eye, something beginning with D.
D.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, door.
Dick
No.
Candle.
Dick Candle.
No.
I just remembered listeners gonna be like, what the fuck? What kind of candles do you have? D. Okay. Ooh. Oh, this is taking me a while. I'm normally really good at this game. Okay, you said D.
Mm-hmm.
D. I have no idea.
Donut.
Oh yeah, that is. I was looking at that and I was like,
I could see you looking at it.
Yeah, I was like, what? Maybe I forgot the name of it.
You're like, no.
So like, I just couldn't get confused. Oh god, let me take you back to the divine. So yeah, I wanted to nominate Kelechi because she made this IGTV video the other day saying violence isn't the answer, and it basically just explored this narrative that's consistently projected onto the black community. Oh, something bad happens, violence isn't the answer. Oh, you need to protest, but violence isn't the answer. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? All of this just over policing of how black people should react, you know? And I respect Kelechi so much because she's so unapologetic in the way that she talks about things. She's very direct with her facts, but it's always backed up with evidence. Do you know what I mean? Like, you cannot say that she doesn't know what she's talking about. Do you know what I mean? She's a real G out here. And I wanted to nominate her because in the video, when she was making her facts, she spoke about how can you say violence isn't the answer when you've met with violence throughout history? Like, whether that's going into occupying land that wasn't yours and enslaving thousands or raping, do you know what I mean? All the atrocities of the past were met with violence, and then you're confused when violence meets you. She, like, at the end of the day, it's also, don't encourage, you don't want to incite violence, but then also, if you're producing a hateful rhetoric, why are you shocked when it happens to you?
I don't understand it.
How does it make you feel? No, tell us.
How does it make me feel? I think during lockdown especially, I was really, really angry and definitely triggered because I felt like it's just a cycle. It's definitely a vicious cycle, and black people always end up in the worst positions possible. We're always targeted, and it's like, okay, we get a lot of attention and then it dies down. So we saw a lot of people, you know, getting their GoFundMe targets reached, and we saw a lot of people signing petitions and, you know, emailing members of parliament. And the thing is, it's like, if you truly cared, it would be a consistent everyday thing. And it's not necessarily what I believe. I don't think it's black people's battle to fight. Like, we didn't create racism.
Exactly. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, so why should we be the ones that have to make the positions and always bringing it up? It should be something that white people should be fighting against, actively trying to abolish. But yeah, it's like black people's job to have to highlight everything, and, you know, we get criticised for it.
Yeah, no, I think this is actually a great opportunity to take it to the divine, because you said something about how these things are recycled. Basically, there's a thing called old age news, and it's like, I'm not the first person to say this. You know, like, it's this whole idea of, like, I'm talking about my black experience, you're talking about your black experience. We can not know each other, but it's a similar experience. So it's racism. It's old age news. But then forget about our experiences. Let's read a book. Let's just read a book. That's their experience, and that's old age news. It's news that's been recycling again. This is why I'm frustrated, because I'm repeating myself.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, I need to learn, but you have so many resources to learn.
And you're not even putting the effort to go find them. See, all of that literally is... Do you know what I mean? But no, I think this is a great moment to take it to Decoding the Messes, because you've actually said something that reminds me of my frustration. And I think it's a frustration that a lot of people can relate to. So, yeah, you said that we're recycling. It's like it's being recycled. And that is so true. And that's sort of this idea of old age news, because discrimination happens, but we are not the only ones to have faced discrimination. We can find confirmation in talking to each other, so we like, because our shared experience confirms the story, but also we can read about it. Like, I can read about something that happened to someone like me. Maybe they were treated harshly because of the historical context that we're placed in, but they have also experienced the same things. But I can go read that. And that's happened. That's old. That's literally news that is old. However, now I know this news, and now people from generation and generation are repeating this news. And now you're shocked when I'm frustrated or tired. If I had to say things say the same thing 10 times, but not just 10 times, because we've literally been saying it since fucking slavery.
Yeah.
And then you get people like being shocked. Like, I always say how, like, I'm not the first black person to talk about race. You're not the first white person to learn about race. So why is your sensitivity higher than learning about this thing? Get out your feelings. Get out your feelings. Because you don't want to be in my feelings.
But I think that also, like...
It
relates back to accountability as well. Like, taking accountability means you can no longer be ignorant, and people would rather not know and not have to deal with that stuff, because it's like a lifetime of work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That is true. That is a lifetime work. But then also...
Yeah, the lazy
if you don't want to be racist, then do the work.
Exactly,
like,
you have to.
And that's the thing. I think when I was thinking about Kelechi's IGTV, and thinking about my own experiences of like racism, there's this idea that's projected onto the black community of like being overly forgiving for things that we are dealt with. At the end of the day, number one, we didn't make race up, so it's not our problem to fix. But number two, it's the fact that why is it that your empathy is extended to others and not me, and therefore you think I need to be more forgiving? You think I need to compensate for the fact that you don't see me? Because you could stand up for me, but you're choosing not to.
Yeah.
You could see it from my perspective, but it's a choice at the end of the day. And I think that, like, sort of shapes differently as you grow up, you know?
Absolutely. And it's shown differently as well. So obviously when we're younger, you're not going to work as well. So it's like in the work environment, it's the microaggressions, but also like not being stood up for, and kind of having to defend yourself and going through certain situations that you wouldn't go through if you weren't a black person.
Exactly. And like, I want to go back again to that thing that you just said, but people around you, like, white silence is violence. So if you choose to be silent, that is still a choice. But let me take it back to Kelechi, because I just love her so much. No, I'm joking, I'm obsessed. But I found it really interesting, because I think one of the reasons why I like her the most in like, as in like people online and whatnot, is because she's so raw and honest. And I love how she talks about her growth as well, because especially when it comes to like our experiences that we are met with, we want to react because we want to fight for ourselves, but also fighting for ourselves can be quite challenging. And I love how she just always says constantly, I'm a baby girl. Do not put your projections onto me, because that suggests that I'm still subservient for you. I actually got something that she posted online today. I'm just going to see if I can find it. Oh yeah, here it is. So she quoted the Instagram video, right? And then she made this post, and it said, To say I'm overwhelmed is an understatement. I'm someone who rarely shows it if something has gotten to me. It's only those closest to me and my therapist who truly know what I think about certain things. Anything I put on my socials or the podcast is less than maybe 20% of me. That being said, right before I posted the Chat Shit Get Banged video, I had a therapy session where I said, I've got this video I made after my run and I don't know if I should post it because it will be like, here we go again with the angry black woman shit. My therapist asked me if what was in that video is true to who I am. My therapist asked me if what was in that video is true to who I am. I said yes. And she said, well, why censor yourself? It doesn't matter who doesn't like it. It's your truth and have a right to live it. And so after my session, I posted this video on Insta and Twitter. Initially it was quiet. And then out of nowhere, people started sharing and quoting what I said. So it's like got 750k views on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And I was really affirmed by the fact that she spoke so clearly and eloquently on this matter, because I think for so long now, we've worried about how we can talk about race, that we didn't talk about race, mm-hmm. but you've got Kelechi out here unapologetic, like, you're going to hear what I have to say, mm-hmm. you know, and that has given us so much more confidence to cut ties with people who don't respect that communication, mm-hmm. but also it, like, well, it's just affirming, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
Chat shit get banged.
Yeah, I agree. I think as well, when black people are speaking about race, and I guess the term like eloquent as well is often used, but I think we should just listen to all voices. Mm. So not everyone's going to be able to express themselves like Kelechi. I definitely know that I can't. But like, I think the fact that, you know, she did it so well and made it more palatable for people to listen to in terms of like, do you know what I mean?
It's accessible.
It's accessible.
It's accessible.
And everyone can relate who's like, yeah.
Exactly, but that's why I love her as well, because it's like, I think sometimes we get intimidated by environments or language, so it sort of distances ourselves from, like, I don't know if it's communicating, but like sort of putting ourselves forward, you know? And I think like, I'm trying to like get the words to explain this. So, right. You got a lady like Kelechi. Mm-hmm. She uses accessible and relatable language so you feel like you can relate to her. Mm-hmm. And that means even having that sort of language that reflects your feelings, it gives you confirmation in self. You know you're not mad, mm-hmm. you know? Mm-hmm. Like, I have been worried about saying the wrong thing or how I'm going to perceive across. As black women, we've been conditioned and isolated to be perceived as angry. So reclaiming that is so fucking powerful. Yeah. Hence why I'm so sort of passionate about this theme of episode.
Yeah, absolutely. You've been conditioned just to stay quiet as well.
Exactly.
And just to tolerate bullshit. But I literally know hardly any black women that tolerate bullshit as well. But I think in seeing that, you can grow confidence as well. Because you know you're going to be supported. Like, the people who support me the most are black women, definitely. Like, friendships, family-wise, it's black women. And I think that's who you can rely on at the end of the day, are other black women.
Black women have saved me.
Yeah, they've saved me.
They've saved me countless times.
Yeah.
Multiple times from different walkways from life, whether that's my peer or whether that's my auntie. Mm-hmm. Like... Mm-hmm.
Where would we be without, obviously we are black women ourselves, but without that kind of black women love and support, I don't know, my life would be definitely different.
That resilience as well.
Yeah. Resilience, but also sensitivity.
Yeah.
And like, just softness. I think resilience can be, and like strengths are used as stereotypes.
Actually, completely true.
Like, you know what I mean? We're not even necessarily, it's not like we're not that either, but I think people use that and try to say that that's what we are, but we're so much more. No, but
that's the thing. No, you're so right. Like, it's that whole idea of saying to someone that they're a strong, independent black woman, mm-hmm. and it's like, oh, you're strong. So, but by saying that I'm strong, you're saying that you won't help me, or
Exactly.
you won't.
And so you can handle more.
You can handle more. You're good on your own. You know. So I think, again, it's that whole idea of like being thoughtful with your language, and that's what Kelechi is. Like, she's a G.
Yeah.
Another reason why I respect her is because she's just about it. Like, you can't give her that smoke and not expect it back, and that's what was made clear in that video, and that was what was made clear in the video who punched the racist. Because for so long now, like, we've had to shrink ourselves, like, to accustom to this environment that wasn't rewarding of us, and well, it's not healthy.
It's not, like, it's assimilation. So we've had to, like, assimilate, or we've been told to assimilate to the UK society. And, you know, we're seen as others, we're seen as aliens, and that's how we're always going to be viewed in their eyes, because even though, let's say, I'm third generation British, I'm black at the end of the day, so I don't belong in the UK. And yeah, I don't know, it's just never good enough for white people, but of course they're racist, so it's what it is. I don't give a fuck.
It's mad, because it's like, if I look at myself now and I look at the protests, and I've like been really reflecting on, well, my experiences, everybody has, you know, and it's weird because I was faced with a lot of extremity, like, growing up. Meaning, like, I just always saw things at opposite ends of the spectrum, innit? Like, I'm not just black, but I'm South Sudanese, you know, newest country in 2011. So it's not even like, so even the current political state is so distorted by the like government. Do you know what I mean? It's not like had the time to fully rehabilitate, and every time it has been able to rehabilitate, there's been internal violences which has broke out into civil war, which distanced itself. So I was talking to my friend actually the other day, and she said this thing, and I thought it was really helpful. She said it's like the more intersectionality you have, the more awareness you have. So even growing up in Windsor, which is a different extreme, it's not like I was just growing up in any ordinary small town. I was growing up in a town that reached fucking like monarchy and
English values
and traditional values at that. Like, it's weird because I've already always faced with such extremity. I used to be very defeatist when I was younger, so like I would be very blunt in the way I talk. I'd be very dismissive, because it's like I don't need to just be confirmed by what I see around me, but I can be confirmed by the old age news that I've read. So it made me very defensive and protective as I was like growing up.
Yeah, I was similar.
What was like? Well, I mean, this episode, I want to call it "You Picked the Wrong One." It might change. I'm not too sure, depending how it went. But how was, I guess, navigating those spaces in school?
It was difficult, I think, because it's never like, for me, it's never been a situation where like me and my family are the only black people kind of in our lives. Like I had family in Huddersfield, family in Birmingham. We had a lot of family friends within Manchester. Like we went to church, a black church. Yeah. And so when I was younger in primary school and stuff, everything was fine. When I entered high school and we moved to Sale, which is a predominantly white area, like white middle class area. I went to a grammar school, white middle class experience, and that's when I think my perception of myself changed. And so, you know, compliments my parents would give me, I kind of was like, that's what they have to tell me, because they're my parents. But I think I really began to like question myself and like the colour of my skin, and I started to like, it was a weird relationship. Like, I didn't necessarily hate myself, but I just was very wary that I was black, and it really played negatively on my mental health. You know, I was like, you know, people said racist things to me, and I just used to brush it off. But like, the rage inside of me was definitely there. and like as you said, you were dismissive and kind of very blunt. That's how I became to like my family, and I wanted to kind of please my friends. As mad as it sounds, like a bunch of like, do you know what I mean? I wanted to kind of please them because I knew that like in terms of like looks wise and whatnot, I wasn't desired, I wasn't desirable. You know, I wasn't necessarily praised or anything. And it was just weird. Like I didn't think I was pretty.
It's mad that you say at that age as well, because in psychology there's actually studies to show that between 16 to 21 our values and motives are governed by peers, and how that affects with rejection, how that affects with risk taking, and there's multiple studies to say it.
I couldn't actually relate to that.
Honestly, it's weird. Like I was talking to friends, and I think that's another reason why I'm so why I like psychology, and I think I've been used it to understand my life and understand the consequences of, or not the consequences, but the impacts of intersections / institutions on my life. You know, because I was similar. I was quite blunt when I was. No, I was always an energetic child, innit? Like I've always been an energetic child. I've never been able to hide my feelings, like at all. Like not at all. Like you see my energy in it. Like I'm I'm a force. And I was a upbeat child. I was a happy child. But my mum always used to say to me, like, Sarah, like if someone gives you nonsense, like you give them nonsense. Like you let them know that you're not the one, right? So I've always, I guess, like been aware of that energy. Do you know what I mean? Like just that force, you know? But I think when I was younger, and because of like, you know, code switching, being the only black person in a white environment, you do tend to like, well, I tend to like assimilate a lot, just sort of go with the flow, well, go to their standard just because no one was going to fight for me in it. No one was going to support me. Like, would everybody want to do the thing that I want to do, that I suggested? Probably not. So like, I just went with it.
Yeah.
And it's weird because of that, it made me find genuine interest, but also when I was alone, I was like a different person, you know? And then I went to boarding school and everything like heightened, like completely. It's funny because, well, no, it's not funny at all. But because of that experience being so like traumatic and so like you couldn't escape, innit? Like I was in school every day, like people had to get it, or it was kill or be killed in boarding school. Do you know what I mean? So my behaviour changed, and I think that's one thing that I want to learn or discover and explore in this podcast, but in myself, is this difference between anger and rage, and using discernment to help you stand up for yourself, but also show love to yourself by doing it. Because one thing that was evident in the video and was evident in our conversation is the fact that we still want to appeal to whiteness in like conforming or adapting our behaviour, even though we've done by it. Yeah. It's like, oh, that person just punched me in the face. Oh no, they didn't mean it. It wasn't their intention. Let them, you know, they didn't mean it. It's fine. But you've been doing it for so long to multiple people around the fucking world.
And it's like they kind of just don't want us to react, but they want us to sit there and take it. And I think as well, like during my teenage years, probably with yours too, there are things that you just let slide. But when we begin to grow and educate ourselves, like I had to just begin to educate myself, because I was like, I need to make sense of what the fuck is going on.
Exactly.
Like, especially as black women, like we always tend to educate ourselves without asking questions. I just literally went on Twitter, started researching, and like got books and started just reading, because I needed to understand like, why was life like this for me? Obviously my parents helped me, but I still like, I just like to find out stuff myself.
Of course.
I feel like
need that inner clarity.
Exactly. I've got my point. But
Don't worry, I'll come back to you.
It'll come back to me.
I'll come back to you.
So yeah.
One thing you said actually. Oh wait, no, have I lost your point? Oh damn! Point.
I was like thinking about a lot, and I'm like,
okay, so I've decided in the Decoding the Messes, I want to also write out tell you guys the definition of white fragility. I mean, I know you know it, but like for listeners who may not know, you know. So, white definition. sorry, I was reading on Google. So, white fragility definition. Okay. It says here, discomfort and defensiveness on a part of a white person when confronted by information about racial inequality and racial injustice. Okay, right. So, I thought I'd just give you the definition for anybody who may not be aware of the word. But white fragility is something that will resurface in education, racial education. That's inevitable, right? But it's how you use your white fragility or how your fragility manifests that I have a problem with, right? Personally for me, I don't know, but like I find white fragility very triggering because it's like, again, I'm not the first black person to talk about race. You're not the first white person to learn about race. So why is your sensitivity heightened in this conversation? Because you could see it as a conversation. You know, you could see it as restorative justice. You could see it as an opportunity to be a teachable moment. But you met me with tears. You met me with, oh, no, but I didn't mean it like that. No. And personally, like, it's something that's triggered me, but because I know I find it quite triggering, I need to learn, or I need to, well, just deal with that in my own private home. Do you know what I mean? Deal with that on my own time. I wouldn't project that feeling onto others because it's not my fucking responsibility. Yet, it's afforded to black people because of this, because of the whole idea of like talking to white people about race, but white people not realising that they're not the first white person to learn about race. It even frustrates me more. So it's quite like a triggering concept because it still dismisses an involvement to a wider picture, you know? It suggests that you are more, your sensitivity, your identity, yourself is more powerful, is more stronger, is more elevated than this white group that I'm talking about. How does white fragility make you feel?
Frustrated. So white fragility can like obviously take different forms. For me, it's white tears, as you said, as you mentioned, and specifically with like, I've dealt with it with mostly white women. I don't really think, not really white men, definitely mostly white women, and just, you know, being kind of like demonized or vilified, or somebody's kind of just like, Feya doesn't like me, or this by like white women. Well, you know when you just don't do anything wrong.
Nothing wrong.
And it's kind of more so about them wanting to possess me, is what I've realised. And let's say it's in response to me not responding to a text message fast enough, or me not giving the answer that they wanted to hear. That is kind of you wanting to possess how I react to you. Or like control, how I react to you. It's like...
Everything you said was straight facts. Everything you said was the truth. Literally.
And that's manipulation.
It's mad that you sort of... I won't go completely into it because I'm literally keeping a whole episode just for my experiences with white women.
Yeah.
I'm just keeping an episode with it.
Yeah.
Because it's been that fucking mad.
That'd be interesting.
So... I spoke about this in my in a talk once, and essentially you've got white fragility, right, which is a concept, but also you have women as people, but also as socially constructed as well. So you have a white woman who is possessing angelic qualities. So they might be the angel in the house, which is linked to Victorian period, where they're like nurturing and sort of softer and like sort of domesticated and etc. And that's sort of like a economic sort of position that they are in, or like a cultural position they're in. However, because they resemble more delicate and softer qualities, they are going to be their feelings are going to be validated more because they aligned more with the angel in the house narrative, right? You have someone who looks like me, who is the complete opposite to a black woman, so immediately I am now seen as a conflict. I could even be seen as a threat because it's like, oh, this white woman who's so delicate and so pure, we need to protect this purity. We need to protect this angelic nature. And because a black woman does not fit that category at all, because the world wasn't made for black women, they see me as a threat. Honestly, as soon as a white woman says, hey, Sarah doesn't like me, I know where the situation's going. Or, oh no, she has a problem with me, like, I don't like her. And I'm just like, I haven't even fucking, do you know what I mean? Me there with fucking, like, book in one hand, notes, pen in the other, just writing. Honey, I really don't care about you. You have no involvement in my life.
And I think that's part of the problem for them, is that they want to be cared about, or that they're so used to being nurtured to, or being an idealistic woman.
So they're disrupted when someone doesn't entertain it.
Exactly. And it's so odd to me, in like white womanism. It's odd to me because, you know, they still obviously are subject to patriarchy. Like, they still obviously, the men are still misogynistic towards them.
Exactly.
But the thing is that they'll always choose their race over their womanhood. And I think that's what I've read in Bell Hooks, is like the entire woman.
I literally was about to quote her.
Yeah, they will always pick that aspect of their white race over their womanhood.
But that's how they measure equality. They measure white, like in this aspect, like white women are measuring their equality with the same status to men. So because they experience, because obviously patriarchy is there, and they don't have. So patriarchy is theirs. There's the power, right? There's a power that's been taken away from them. However, in race relations, the power is still there because they are more identified with white.
Yeah.
And that is, Bell Hooks also said the same, compared the narrative to black men.
Yeah.
She said that black men, to them, their equality is to the white man. Because they are men, patriarchy isn't the power. They're all navigating men's spaces. However, because it's racialized, they are going to be put less than, you know?
Yeah.
And so, because then you see a woman who has the patriarchy, who is also navigating in a world that's that has the patriarchy, now you reject or challenge the black woman because that's what your perceived potential or want to be equals are doing.
Exactly. And because they still strive, they have to unlearn that want and that bias, like a lot of, and they don't want to unlearn it basically. Like, that's why we're still where we're at today. I think white women need to do a lot more, and I feel like even in the friendships and just how like they view their black women friends, they need to just do a lot more in unlearning, because you still hold them up to a stereotype and you put them on a pedestal. And, like, black women are not protected at all when they fall. And it's just like...
Yeah, no, actually, you were going to talk about... so we see how black women aren't affected in day-to-day lives. And I will speak about sort of social circles at the moment. But do you want to tell us a bit about Megan Thee Stallion?
Oh, yeah. So, Meg Thee Stallion situation... I just know a little bit about it. I don't know the full details. But... just her being unprotected on the internet and situations a lot of black men were kind of attacking her and standing up for Tory, who literally shot her in the back of both of her feet.
If anyone doesn't know, Megan Thee Stallion is a I hope you know her. She's sick in it.
Yeah, she's an amazing rapper.
She's so likable and she's so cool and she does her like cute makeup and she's just a G out here. And she basically got shot after, it wasn't like after an after party. No,
after like on the way home, I think they went from somewhere, I think Kylie's house, something like that. And she got shot in the back of her feet by Tory Lanez, who's like a well-known singer, kind of well-known singer from Toronto. And I think it was after an argument, she got out of the car, was walking away and he just shot her. And like, yeah, she was put in hospital. And the whole incident following that is that the police came basically and they were mistreating her. They saw that she was bleeding and still made her like walk and put her hands up and just kind of delayed their response. And during that whole entire time, she never told anybody that it was Tory that shot her, even though we kind of guessed that it was him. But to protect him, she didn't want him to get hurt by the police.
Yeah.
So.
Because then again, look at a black woman protecting a black man. Because there's no other community that will do it. Not even say that. There's no other community that will do it as much as black women.
Never.
Never.
It's weird because it's like it must be obviously conditioned into us, and only when these kind of situations happen do we realise how fucked up it is. Like our allegiance towards black men is not reciprocated and it's not mutual. It's, probably a part of patriarchy as well. But then there's also kind of a love there, like that I even have myself for black men.
So much love and protection.
You want to protect them and you want to love them, but then after so many times, you have to protect yourself.
We see the light in black men that the world doesn't.
Yeah.
Whether that's for our brothers, our friends, our fathers, etc. Like, we see the light in black men.
And we see black men, like...
In their entirety.
Like, I have a brother, uncles, I have my dad, like... I see them not as people paint them out to be on the news. And then they also see us in our entirety.
Yeah.
So we need to also look at that kind of disconnect as to why they still don't stand up for us the way we do for them.
Yeah.
And I think a lot also boils down to self-hate.
Yeah.
They don't know how to navigate that.
Because the thing is, obviously, we're all healing from our wounds. Like, they might not be as, I don't know, present in the forefront in others than other people. But there is something about being like stood up for loudly and being loved loudly, and this whole sort of like, I've got you, but like, with conviction, like, and you're not asking for much. Like, I'm just asking you to do what you do for other people that you respect, because that's what I do for you.
But I think it just boils down again to they don't respect us. But why is it? I'm like, for me, like, I know it's society, but you can also go against what that's telling you.
Yeah.
So I think it's also then looking at men and how fragile they are, like in their masculinity, that they would literally rather shoot a black woman than do the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's what is fucked up. Because even when you look at I don't know the exact statistics, but black women are most likely to be killed by a black man. And it's most likely to be someone that they know. Most likely to be raped by someone that they know who will probably be like a black man. Like, I need to get the statistics, I'll send them to you after, but like, it's just fucking disgusting because we're not actually protected by them, we're actually being hurt and brutalised and abused by them. And I think they need to fix up. What else can we do as black women rather than always telling them to do stuff? Like, it has to come from within.
Exactly, because the thing is, it's like, another thing that Kelechi mentioned was like, people say end racism, say no, show racism the red card. Okay, but who's this red card to? Like, what is the action after that? So end racism, okay, what policies and what actions have we made to end it?
Nothing major.
And I
little
think
things here and there, petitions.
And do you know one thing that I find frustrating as well? It's this whole idea of emotional labour.
Yeah.
As well. To be fair, I think when you look at racial education and again look at the old age news, you see how emotional labour sort of feeds into the dynamic. Just because if I'm repeating an action all the time, right, and that action used to benefit me, let's say I'm a black woman in the 80s and fucking jobs are like, my jobs opportunity is going to be more limited than it is in the 2020s, you know? So let's say even that. I might adapt, code switch my behaviour because it is the most constructive for that moment because I know the pressures at the time. However, because of incidents like that, a lot of racists think that, oh, you can teach me. That's okay. No.
They want to be
I'm
taught.
not your meal.
No.
Not at all. Not at all.
No. They want to be taught, and then when you actually say no to that, they then will call you out of your name. They'll say, you just want to, like, you don't want to help me out, you don't want to uplift me, you just want to bring me down. I think, again, relating back to black women, that's what people always expect us to do, to educate people.
Constantly, like, I had actually a really weird experience with not just like people thinking that I can educate them, but also people thinking that they have no involvement in what I've experienced. I'm just getting the status up because I literally, like, this is when I was moving like a Facebook mum, like in June, because I was just like, nah, these racists are gonna get. Do you know what I mean? These racists are gonna get it today. So on Facebook, I guess I've just been sharing more, as a lot of other people are, in social media because of response to this Black Lives Matter uprising, but. Because of that, it's allowed people to think they have no involvement in situations. I mean this to say, like, if you went to my boarding school and you saw racist things happen, you are involved.
Yeah, you're complicit.
It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. But there's this idea that people can spot out racism out there, but not in here. So that's when, you know, when people used to be like, oh, it's only worse in America, blah, blah, blah. You're distracted. You're distracted with the own racism that's on your doorstep. Because you can look at that neighbour, but you can't look at yourself.
It's like they don't want to... Again, accountability. People would rather not have to question themselves. You're so built up in your own ego and your own sense of self that you're like, I could not possibly be racist.
Exactly.
Whilst actually being racist. People are that deluded. Like, why it's so difficult to talk to certain white people about it because they'll always come up with an excuse like, oh, I didn't mean it like that.
But do you know what's the funniest thing? It's like, don't you think I've heard that excuse before?
Many times.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so funny because it's like when racists try and defend themselves to you, they are tiptoeing on language that has already been said because guess what? I'm not the first black person to experience racism. It's when people say, I don't see colour. Okay, so let me tell you 1, 2, 3 and why that's wrong. And it's embarrassing because it's like, you don't need, you can Google that. You type in, I don't see colour on Google, see the responses. And you use that. So how embarrassing, how basic do you have to be without, do you see you're not just regurgitating the same cycle?
And everything. But then it's just mad to me because like white people who have claimed to be, you know, read a few books or an ally or educated, use those terms. And I think after reading a few books now, like after following a few Instagram pages during lockdown, people now believe themselves to be an ally, but it's not just about looking at Instagram, you've got to put it into action.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you share or what you repost, it literally has how you provide action and how does that maintain on a long term. I want long-standing change. Like, don't deal with the symptoms of racism, deal with the causes. Make sure the causes that you created historically,
and also deal with the people around you, like properly deal with the people around you. Treat them better than what you're treating them. Because, like, let's say you have your friends or somebody you work with, literally treat them better. That's where it fucking starts. Not just reading stuff on, like, Google. You need to actually treat people around you who are closest to you, if they are black, better. It's that simple.
I found my status.
Let's see.
Okay, so this is when I was moving like a Facebook mum. It says, I'm a dickhead in recovery. I say this because though I know better, so I do better, I can still move mad anytime. If you went to my boarding school and now drowning in white guilt, refrain from messaging me or commenting on my posts. Yes, I want change and want others to learn from the resources I shared, but I'm also not going to clap for a fish swimming. You watched how I got treated and you said nothing. Some of you were even involved in attempting to get me suspended on multiple occasions. To those who actively tried to destroy me, it will never be well with you. To those who want to learn, read and go. You do not need my justification to be woke. No lies.
I like that status.
Because that's the thing, like, I think, okay, so we experience this racism, right? Racism was obviously bad, so I want to fight for myself in this racist action. However, because I'm repeating this racist action, I'm actually performing a behaviour that isn't, like, that I don't want to do. Like, so let's say someone's being racist to me and now I'm going to have to cuss them out. But then because I'm at a boarding school, I have to cuss them out in a way that's individual to them. Because I'm not just getting it from this one teacher, I'm getting it from teacher and then this pupil and then that pupil and then this pupil. So when I tell you that I'm disrespectful, if people tell you that I'm disrespectful, believe them. Believe them, because it's like, I've had to watch my tongue, not watch my tongue, fight for my corner, kill to not be killed, but also heal so much and take myself from such toxic environments that were forced upon me because I was darker than a lot of people around me. And that's the truth. It's this whole idea of like, oh, do you know what I get as well? So basically at boarding school, a lot of teachers used to see me as like their Project Negro. They used to like, sort of be like, how do I explain it? They used to be like, oh, Sarah, you're getting so better now that you're here. Like they used to like, essentially at the first, some teachers, when I first met them, they used to think I was a problem child. And then as I was excelling in school, they were like, oh, well done, you're really like taking advantage of what's being done on, like what's being put on you. And I just thought it would be disgusting because it's like, okay, you're saying I'm doing good right now because I got an A in this thing, but 3 days later, 3 days before, when I was getting screamed at by people, where were you to be seen?
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Like, another thing that I want to add as well is this relationship with power, emotional intelligence, and race. Because I believe that a lot of racists aren't emotionally intelligent. Completely. And I also believe that when we're met with racism, we might even be surrounded by people that identify as allies or identify as not racist, okay? But they will be like, oh, be the bigger person. Don't rise it to it. Violence isn't the answer. And I just think that's so problematic because it's number one, right? Someone who is white cannot tell me how to deal with my racism. Facts, right? I live in a racialized body, so you do not have the insight to tell me how to feel, tell me how to behave, and tell me how to respond. You might love me and you might care for me, but if you love me and care for me, then you accept me in my entirety and you understand why that reaction happened or that response occurred, right? I also find it extremely problematic when white people suggest, I mean, to be fair, black people and people of colour can do this too, but I'm talking about white people at the moment. But when people encourage you to use an experience for personal development, I find it really, really fucked up. It's like, okay, so this person's been racist to me. Oh, be the bigger person. See how you can move from it. Let it fuel you. I'm not going to be funny, but racism isn't an opportunity for a creative project. It is something that has been placed upon me that about fucking for centuries of harm to multiple people that look like me. So for you to say, oh, grow through it, you're spiritual bypassing a situation, A, because you're not in a relationalized body, B, because you still want to take power and how to sort of communicate it, because you never know, you might even be fearful of me. Do you know what I mean? You might be even fearful of me, hence why you want to control, you want to police how I'm responding. Don't get me wrong, I'm not out here saying like move mad to every person on the street. Do you have time? No. But you cannot be shocked if I meet you with madness. You need to either respect the madness or leave. Get out. Like, honestly, like the amount of times when I was in year 10, I would, don't get me wrong, I would call out racism, but it was like, I'd just make people feel very blunt. No, I'd make people feel very awkward about what they said. So, I'll just be like, oh, you do know that's racist. That's embarrassing, isn't it? Like, to say that to the only black person in the room. And I'll just look them straight in the eye in a group of people. So they'd be like, and just stutter. So I'd be like, okay, job done. Like, now I can move to my next fucking lesson. Do you know what I mean? Because it was that common. It was that it was that on a consistent level. But then in year 11, I did not have time. I had my own shit to deal with. Like, again, we're in a sensitive period where we've got, because we're at an impressionable age, we're sensitive to the things that we're receiving. So if we're all going through our internal lives, whether it's puberty or fucking, I don't know why, the Northern just jumped out at me. What the fuck was that? But because, sorry, I can't lie. Where was I? What was I saying?
You're basically saying...
Why is my mind just gone so blank? It's so funny.
It's because the fucking...
Yeah.
Sounds like me.
Because I was in an environment which was harsh consistently.
Yeah.
I had to meet them with the harshness to get them to go away, and it's frustrating because it's like, in that aspect, it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because it was like, oh, they see this black girl as aggressive, and then by year 11 I was aggressive, because it was like, oh, if you think I'm aggressive, let me show you the aggression so I can show you to step away. However, I'm still repeating a behaviour that isn't aligning with my best good, because don't get me wrong, the person still needed to be cussed out, but equally so, I need to deal with the feelings of frustration, the headache, the body tension, all of that on my own. So there needs to be a level of discernment there where I choose not to absorb the feelings of the person who's projecting their toxic views onto me.
And I think that's so hard to even
conceptualize as a fucking 16-year-old.
I was about to say,
how can you think like that?
As a teenager, as a child, you're not aware.
No.
You can choose your battles better. You're not aware that you react out of emotion. Like, humans are not rational.
Yeah.
We're gonna act out of emotion. We have to like teach ourselves what we want to like judge between, like discernment. We have to as we grow older, we pick and choose basically. Yeah. But yeah, I completely agree. And it's also a lot that we are the ones that have to pick and choose, whilst white people are able to just say whatever the fuck they want to say. Yeah. And then we have to be like, is it worth rising up to? Is it not?
Do you know what I mean? They have the privilege as well of seeing as an isolated incident. They have the privilege of seeing, oh, this is just one experience that I had with a black girl. It might have not been personal because it was my experience, but honey, it was racial. I'm black. Like,
she just happened to be black, but because they give you like a PSA before, they're kind of just like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm not trying to be racist, but can I ask you this question? And you're just like, you just literally like...
If you have to say, I'm not racist, but you, sir, are a racist, like... If you have to say I'm anything but, if I said right now I'm a homophobic but, I'm homophobic. It does not matter. You cannot say those three words just to compensate for the derogatory thing that you're about to say. Like, it's fucking mad. Like, it's funny because honestly, like, I love how you say pick and choose your battles, because that is something that I really had to learn as I was growing up. Like, when I was 16, everything was a battle. Like, I know it was savage, honestly. Like, I was scatty. Like, I stopped calling people by their names. Like, it literally was like dumb bitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, I didn't care anymore because all that pressure got to me. Because it wasn't okay, so I'm in a school that was intense. No, that I had to achieve, like, do you know what I mean? I'm in a school which you have to, like, fucking, you know, you want to get good grades in school, innit? And then being black, navigating racist teachers, like, it got a lot. So everything was a battle. So when I came to uni, I was like, attitude, anger, it needs to be checked. It needs to be because I know what that mouth can do. I know what that mouth can do.
Yeah.
So I need to take that back because I know better, so I do better, and I stand by it. But in that process, it actually it was a hard process to learn because I, in my past experience, I had been defensive, completely warranted, but I'd been defensive. I wanted to take that everything that was related to that for defensive away. So whether that was anger, whether that was standing up for myself, or I would stand up for myself, but, like, you know, when you call things out on the spot and you don't let people know how they fucking tested you. I removed that element of my life because to me, it was so, I don't know what the word is, but it was so mixed in with the rage and the anger that I felt at boarding school. So when I came to university, I was like, oh, wait, anger, no. I checked the anger, I checked what I guess I determined my ego to be, yeah? And then came to uni. Am I not still black?
Yeah.
Am I not still black? It doesn't matter how you police your mind, you're still going to be black. And that was such a bitter pill to swallow. Like, I find it, well, I mean, I'm repeating myself again, but, like, I wanted to lose all the characteristics or mannerisms that I associated with that period of my life because I thought it was bad character. I thought it was in a reaction to the horrible things I experienced at boarding school. So I wanted to release all of that. I wanted to take it all away. When I came to uni, I was like, yeah, new uni, new me, I'm going to live my life. But regardless of what I did, I was still treated like a black woman.
Because that's what we are.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. I find it quite interesting because you say that, like, you had to kind of, like, you acted more so out of rage, and my defense was definitely going, like, more into myself.
Yeah.
Like, really internal. So when I had to kind of, like, really dig deep and try to heal, it was, like, a lot of internal work because I just internalized everything. I took everything really personally. So when I came to university, it was more like, okay, Feya, start to kind of set boundaries. And I've only really learned, like, really recently learned how to do that, like, literally throughout lockdown. Set boundaries, speak when you're uncomfortable or when someone's, like, upset you. Because I'm just so used to just being like, okay, and just and it just sits heavily on my chest. And I just find that really interesting. But again, like, these are emotions and things that we have to go through as black people that white people don't have to go through because of racism, because of the colour of our skin. And we have to go through our 20s now unlearning that, or go through our life unlearning that trauma, whereas that's something that they don't have to do. And I think that, like, it's just sad. It's sad
because it shows you that regardless of what you do, racism is existing with black women. Like, I've decided to bring these two stories up because I think it just showcases how racism is apparent everywhere, and it's really just up to you and your sense of self and what you choose to determine with it. Like how you choose, but that is your choice and that's intimate to you, and that can be influenced by you talking to people in your circle, finding social support. Yes, I govern that, I advocate for that, but also it needs to come from within.
Absolutely.
So I want to tell you about two experiences, right? And it happened in the space of a week, right? Oh shit, yeah, you were there. You were there for one of them.
Oh my god!
Shit, yeah. So,
oh my god.
Listeners, think about what I said about not wanting to deal. No. being very active in how I defended my racism compared to not in my later years because I wanted to grow. I wanted to change. I wanted to heal or heal in a, I guess, whitewashed way, right? So we went out to the Gorilla, right? We went to Gorilla.
To a black event at Gorilla.
We went to a black event at Gorilla last January. Gorilla is an event space in Manchester, and basically it was a group of us. It was like 7 of us, and I was in a part of. We came in different stages, sort of, but like I was at the back a little bit. Anyway, these security guards singled me out. Right. At first, I thought it was because I was drunk, but at the end of the day, like, I'm at a fucking club of everyone's fucking drunk, you know? Again, they singled me out. And I asked them, like, why they were singling me out. And they were making all this language, being really, really aggressive, like, sort of, like, pointing in my face, shouting at me, saying that I'm just being drunk, I'm being a mess. I remember I was with... Oh, I won't say the names. I was with 2 people, one black and one quite light-skinned, right? And basically, I just say to the security guards, oh, is this, are you doing this because of race? As soon as I said that, they ran away. This white woman came over and was like, oh no, it's not about race, And I was like, so why did they leave? She's like, oh, it's actually because even though the girl that I was with isn't white, but because they were white passing, they were like, oh no, it's because your white friend said bullshit.
I remember that.
And in that moment, I was one of multiple black people that have been denied entry going to a club. Like, you can look on Twitter, Google, anywhere. And in that moment, I was like, shit, this is, I'm experiencing this. And it's mad because I've always been the darkest out of my black friends. So I've always noticed how I'll get more vim than the people that I'm around. But I didn't realise that it would be that bait. So that happened. So that's example 1. Example 2. So 5 days later, I have this girl who doesn't like me pat me on the head. She pat me on the head. And I didn't at first wanted to share this because I guess I was a bit embarrassed. I was a bit like frustrated. I was hurt and frustrated, but I was embarrassed because I am confident sticking up for myself. I am very, very comfortable with anything cocky with vouching for myself. So in that moment, I responded and I didn't react, right? But I bring these 2 examples together because you see how this one girl has belittled me. These security guards have belittled me in a way that is, you're not allowed in that space and talk down to me. So has this girl. And it was the same thing, but it happened at different times. And it just showed me, regardless of what you do, you're going to be black regardless. It doesn't matter if the bouncers were intentionally seeing me out because I was dark skinned. Compared to the girl who didn't like me. Because no matter how much they may lie to themselves and say it wasn't racist, it was personal.
They wouldn't do it to anybody else.
But what's the common denominator? Am I not black, whether you're intentional or not? So regardless of your own input, your own perception in your mind, you can see that... let me ask you some yes and no questions, right? Let me break it down this way. If you push me right now, am I black?
Yep.
If you accidentally bump into me, am I black?
Yep.
If I go to another country and someone, I don't know, doesn't let me use their car, am I black? So do you see that intention doesn't mean fuck all?
Mm-hmm.
It means nothing because I will always live in a racialized body. Therefore, racism is always present. And this is why people cannot be shocked when black people, people of colour, meet them with anger, frustration, violence even. Because that was consistently projected onto us. And this is not me saying that everyone should go be out here moving mad, but this is me saying that, well, to my black folks, is using discernment because we, right? But then to the non-black people, it's me saying you need to respect it because there has been times where I've decided to be the bigger person, aka uni. There has been times where I've decided to move fucking mad, aka boarding school. But I'm still black regardless. So I need to make sure that my comfort, myself, my justice is satisfied for me. And you need to be aware, anyone external to me needs to be aware that they shouldn't pick me for this battle of race and mental gymnastics and white fragility that's mixed with confusion and conflict because I won't meet them there because I don't have time for it. I've been in this simulation before.
I agree completely. No, I agree completely.
I just went on a bit of a tangent.
I don't know what else to say. No, I agree completely. I think it's just, as you said, it's like one black person might react one way, but you really don't know how anybody else is going to react because we're not a monolith. Like, because we all have our own thoughts and feelings and experiences.
Exactly.
And that are completely different to each other. So you can't just vouch and think, I can say this to my black friend and I can say this to another black person and therefore I should be able to get away with it because my group of black friends said it's fine. And like, that's not how life fucking works at the end of the day. Like, but the most disrespected person is a black woman in these situations.
Malcolm X said it.
Malcolm X said it and he knew it. Like, it's not a lie. I think, yeah, it's just always showing that we are not respected by anyone but really ourselves. But yeah, it's crazy. The Magician.
I actually picked that card out because I was debating whether to talk about those experiences and I was like, I need a quick yes or no, and that card means yes.
Ooh.
So like I spoke about it. So lucky for you, DM listeners.
That's it.
I know, it's super cute. Excited for tarot.
I'm ready, I'm excited.
So, to finish on decoding the messes, if a black person tells you something is racist, it is racist. They live in a racialized body, therefore they can encounter racism whenever it occurs. Whether you intend for it to be racist or whether you don't intend it to be racist, they still live in a racialized body. So guess what? It is racist. And they don't have the privilege of being ambiguous. They don't have the privilege of switching it on and off. They don't have the privilege of having that form of their identity concealable because the skin is apparent when you first see someone. So that is my little message on racialized bodies. Thank you guys. No, I appreciate that because it's something that I feel really motivated by because at the end of the day, I'm out here, doing a wellbeing podcast. I love personal development. I want to grow. But when people suggest that my racism can fuel that growth, especially when it's suggested by a white person, No. You picked the wrong one to talk to. This is the next part of the segment, which is Tarot Talks. And this is where I give a tarot reading for my guest. I am sitting here with a tiger's eye dowsing pendulum, which is just beautiful. Look at how gorgeous that is. And for this episode, we want to look into emotional intelligence. We've spoken about external pressure, rage, anger, etc. So, to spirit, to the universe, what kind of things are you wanting to ask today?
How do we as black women go about healing from trauma, either in the past or present? How do we find peace within ourselves?
Amazing. I love that. Okay, I'm just shuffling these cards. So, trying to think, is there anything else that I want to ask? Ooh, card just popped out. Hello.
Oh.
Hello. Okay, amazing. Right, so we've got the Five of Pentacles. So I'm going to discuss about it for a little bit, and then we'll talk about how it's in relation to your question. All right. So the not the Five of Pentacles, the Five of Wands, right? So I'll let you look into the card. When we look at the number 5, right, it's to do with conflict. It's to do with a competing of energy. And that's evident with the Five of Wands, because wands are representative of our motivation, of our drive, of our sort of deeds, you know. They're sort of like, it's governed by the element of fire. So it's very it's energy focused. It's how spirit is manifesting and how that manifestation in spirit is coming into the physical realm, you know. And when you see the Five of Wands, you see different individuals at first. They kind of all look like they're fighting. They're swinging their wands about, and the wands can sort of represent, in this image, your different strengths, your different abilities, your different skills, right? So you've got 5 individuals like just walking around, like everybody's sort of like waving their motivation, waving their deed around, waving their energy. It might come into contact with others, it might complement others, but it's still sort of colliding with different energies, different perspectives, different motivations. Let's say if we saw this is a group image, right? So when there's a multitude of energy that is conflicting, it could be distracting to identifying the common goal. And we see how intersectional differences can limit or lessen work ethic, right? But with the Five of Pentacles, it's not necessarily complete conflict, because there is if individuals are aware of the overarching goal in the Five of Wands, they will be able to use and cultivate that energy to help them accomplish their goal, right? I say this because in my other deck, you've got 5 wands, and then you've got 1 wand in the middle, and the wand might so yeah, it could be conflict, it could be disagreements, because that wand's in the middle. It's that wand separating the two energies. It's meeting in the middle, sort of identifying that, because there's a middle ground, that could also be a foundational place to grow from. What do you see when you see the card?
I see, 5 men. And I see that one on the end. I guess it's kind of like the one you said, the one in the middle. It's like they're all trying to connect in a way.
Yeah.
Like, here's one. So I feel like it's like, as you said, the 5 different aspects of my strengths in a way. Of what I like to do, my hobbies.
Your skills, Yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of come together to try to like, come together basically, trying to utilise them all at once, I guess.
So I just picked out another card for clarification, and it's called the Page of Swords. I'm actually going to put these 2 cards here, because I think now I sort of understand the reading a bit more. So with the Page of Swords, it's a court card, and a court card represents a personality that you may have mastered in life. The Page of Swords... So swords is to do with your mental realm, right? Swords is to do with all your thoughts, your opinions, your beliefs, how you how you strategize, how you put power in communication and use your mental intellect to govern the world that you live in, you know? And because the page is the youngest out of the family of the court cards, the page is youthful energy. They are creative. They have new ideas. They are
innovative.
They are persistent. They are they're sort of like this fresh new perspective that can fresh energy that has so much freedom and has so much like, I don't want to say lack of expertise because that's not true, but they have so much like what's the word? I'm trying to say like they have so much space to think new, to be see their minds completely fresh start, completely like start again. The word's on the tip of my tongue.
Blank slate? I don't know.
Blank slate. Yes.
Is it?
So I think maybe so.
Innocence.
And innocence actually is a great word to describe it. Because of their innocence, they're able to sort of mold their world or mold their like vision to still chase the good things in that vision. So like in this deck, you actually see it as a Lego character, and Lego is supposed to symbol joy and adventure and creativity. So, right. In relation to your question, you asked, how can Black women heal from trauma, past or present? We got the Five of Wands that represents conflict, but also it has the opportunity to level up from the conflict if they can meet in the middle. But with the Page of Swords, you've got a confidence, clarity, a thoughtfulness, a youthful energy that is eager to learn and share and provide clarity. So in response to your question, encouraging Black women to heal, it's taking the important information, taking what is so most significant to us to confirm the power that we have in ourselves. Because the Five of Wands has a power struggle. And if we're Black women, we are faced with, because we have no power, we're constantly at the bottom of that struggle. We're at the bottom of that resource conflict or that resource hoarding. But with the Page of Swords, it's using your wit and using your intellect to take what you can from a situation. It's weird though, because even as I'm talking, I'm like thinking about if someone's met with me with madness, I have such motivation to meet them there. However, if we look at the Page of Swords reversed, it's manipulative, it's gossipy, it's counterproductive. Me cussing someone out isn't going to make me feel better. It might do in that moment, but I still have to take those feelings and those experiences, those physical sensations of being cussed out with me when I go to bed. So managing that, finding the importance of yourself and do you know what actually? I think the Page of Swords, because we've got some air energy and we've got some fire energy, it's sort of heightening this fuel in our hearts and in our minds, but in our souls, because with the Page of Swords, they're using their intellect in a calculated way, but it's never to put people down whilst they're getting up. In the Five of Wands, you see that conflict. So it's like, okay, fuck it. Like, I'm going to look out for me because this is the conflict that is present. But the Page of Swords sees the conflict, observe the conflict, but moves accordingly. You know, they move with, oh, I see your conflict. No, there's conflict present, but I see you. You know, it's like you might not think you're doing wrong, but my team might be messing around with all their skills and motivation and having all of this disagreements in place, but I see you. I'm choosing not to absorb the fire energy of the wands, but use my mental intellect to change my perspective and use the clarity of said situation to strategize the environments that I go around. Because the thing is, with your mental realm, it's very personal to you. Like, even me doing this podcast, like, with you, that whatever you're absorbing in your mind, you can only say to me. I can never know. You could be like, nah, not for me. But no, you don't have that. You have a conceivability in your mind. But we need to also encourage ourselves to have a positive and adaptive relationship with our mind, because when we do, we can leave the external at the external and create that distance. You know what? Again, sorry, I came back around. Page of Swords. We talk about power. We talk about communication. Swords is putting in boundaries. Swords.
No, because this is literally my life.
Swords is putting in boundaries.
This is literally my life.
Mad.
This is mad. This is literally my life. I'm not even kidding. Like, when I tell you what's happened, you'll be like, what the fuck? Like, this is literally my life.
I love tarot.
That's literally my life. Boundaries. Yeah.
What do you think from that reading?
It's my life. Like, that's accurate as fuck.
It's just funny because it's like, well, not funny, but I love how intuitive nudges guide you. You know what?
Help explain. Yeah.
Oh, I'm drawn to pull another card. I'm drawn to it. Okay, no, I'm doing it. I'm getting too excited. Okay. I just want some hopeful, like. We've got clarity in this message. Do you know what I mean? Clarity. What can we take next? What can we take next? That's what I want to know. I want you to. I'm going for it. Okay. Take a card.
Me?
Take a card anywhere from the deck.
This one's appealing to me.
Yeah, let's go. Again. Mad. I just wanted to get your card to like sort of confirm everything. So this is another, I'll put this card over here. So that card is also number 5. It's 5 of Swords. So you've got 5 of Wands and you've got 5 of Swords. So it's like your spirit fighting your mind and finding the balance. Because the Page of Swords takes the important issues from the conflict and use it to better themselves. The 5 of Swords is actually represented in like 3 figures. I'll show you the card, but it also says just the stages. And even though you see this guy's winning with his mental intellect, what has he done to win? Not every time someone's winning, not every winner is good. Is a good winner. You know, not every success story
is good.
You know,
sometimes sometimes people hurt people to get to what they are.
Exactly, and it's taking the important issues to strengthen your clarity, your peace of mind, so you can navigate the world. Because all of this conflicting energy that surrounds us, that's present within our lives as Black women, can drain us. So we have to take the important issues from said confliction, because it's not gonna. Only we will know how it will strengthen us, and that encourages you to live your life by your own metric. I think that's the tarot reading, because every Black woman's experience is different. I can tell you to heal right now, but then I could be Megan Thee Stallion and then got shot. You know, everyone's Black woman's healing's experience is different. So it's taking the important lessons and the clarity from the confliction of the experience that surrounds you, because you probably have at one point been the middle person. You've probably had to not shrink yourself, because that's not the right word, but like you've had to met yourself in the middle and compromise. Think of the pros and cons. Think of the strengths and weaknesses to how you would react. However, that regardless of how you react, you might not even still come the winner, because you might have done shady things to get there, but also you might have had shady things done to you.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you could identify with this person in the card, but you could identify with the person at the bottom. So what stage are you at?
Me?
In your mind?
In my mind, I feel like I've been the people in the back.
Yeah.
I feel like right now, like regarding the Page of Swords, being able to take the positives from that interaction.
Yeah.
And kind of not let it truly affect my spirit and like my personality, don't let it change me, but carry on, move forward. That's literally what I'm doing at the moment.
Amazing. Oh, abundance.
But then it's also helped me as well, because it's like, yeah, you're doing it right.
Yay. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that this reading resonated with you. That honestly makes me so gassed. Well, that just takes us to the last segment of our podcast, and that is the direct message. And the direct message is a little take-home message for listeners. What would you like to leave listeners on, Feya?
Respect black women, and black women take time out to heal, and just take time out to heal, and self-care is important.
Beautiful. Love that. Very needed, very necessary. My message for DM Talk listeners today is, not everyone has your range, but that should never be your misfortune.
Again, I like that one. I like that one.
I know, I was working on it. Because it's true. Because it's just like, I could deal with the conflict that's outside of me, but then also, I think if someone's racist, they lack emotional intelligence. I think that's just a given. So why am I fighting or putting myself in an environment where I'm already met with someone who's not meeting me halfway? Do you know what I mean? Like, if someone's giving me a third and I'm there at 50%, if someone's giving me 30% and I'm there at 50%, I need to retract that shit back. I need to track that shit back. So not everybody has your range. That might be sad sometimes, but honestly, we move. It should never be your misfortune. No. Amazing. Well, we came to a beautiful episode. I really enjoyed this.
I really enjoyed
it was so releasing. I knew it would be, but like, now it's gone. I'm like, oh wow. So before I even say that, you've been a great guest.
Thank you.
You've been great. I've really enjoyed talking to you. I'm sure the listeners would love you. I love you too.
Thank you.
Please, can you let listeners know about where they can find you, your socials, Black and Fashion, like all of that.
So you can find me at BRATLANICE, BRATLANICE, on Instagram, and then Black in Fashion is Black in Fashion UK on Instagram, and that's where we post the most. So yeah.
Sick. Amazing. Oh no. Thank you, Feya. I've been your host, Sarah DM. You can find the podcast on Spotify, YouTube. Find us on our Instagram, which is DM.Talks. And yeah, I've had a great episode. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Sarah. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And everybody listen to this. But yeah, it's been fabulous. I'll leave you at that. Bye, everyone.
Bye.